Hi, this is Nami. Thank you for tuning in. I recently recorded the Pluto in Aquarius video, just audio. I'm kind of bringing back the spirit of that podcast that I was doing, which was called Cosmic Leopard Mystic Magic. I'm not sure if I'm gonna just keep that title or not. This is just a random thing. But in those years, like 2022, I couldn't continue doing it at some point, and then I just stopped. Even YouTube, I started putting content a while back. I don't even know when I started to put tarot stuff up, but when I started it back then, a few years ago, I was just thinking too much. Or I needed a good intro, or I needed a good camera, I needed this and that, and I didn't have it then, or I was just making everything too complicated to the point that I could not continue. So I'm trying to take everything, trying to take a path of least resistance, right? That's something that Abraham Hicks, I believe, talk about often. The path of least resistance. And I am coming to understand that more and more, and how that theme plays out in every aspect of life. Resistance is a sign from the universe how we are off from our true essence or nature, right? So it's if our true nature was God or the source or the force of the universe, it's ever expanding, ever moving energy that is us. Then if we are feeling stuck in some kind of a way, we are not, it's like a red flag that the source, our inner higher spirit, is blowing a horn, right? That you're going the wrong way, right? It's a wake up call that we are off. And sometimes it's hard to realize that sign as a wake up call because we have certain mindset and certain setting within our mind, and we have kind of programmed not to believe that as a off being off sign, but it's just the regular thing, right? Resistance can be the normal thing. Can resistance meaning stress or feeling this sense of I'm lacking something, I'm missing something, I feel empty, I feel lonely, I'm stressed out, I'm angry, I'm frustrated, right? All those ideas that can create this energy of resistance, which holds this specific vibrations of negativity, which is, this is the pattern, right? This is the pattern. We are just so unconsciously believe that's a part of who we are as humans, and it's the sometimes being negative is our default setting, right? We think we can think the worst case scenario, or we can, the fear or worries can be triggered so easily to the point it's the natural mental state, right? It can be the natural mental state. But this is the moment that the profound shift has to happen, especially this month, but especially, this is during this Mercury retrograde also. I think there is such a strong power potential for us to shift something. The last new moon, under the last new moon in Scorpio on November 1st, Pluto was still in Capricorn. The new moon that's coming up on December 1st, Pluto now is in Aquarius, right? We are we've gone through this lunar cycle that started with that new moon at the beginning of November. And during this month, so much has shifted. So much is shifting. So much has been shifting since the summertime, since the eclipse season, and all of that. But now is the time under this Mercury retrograde. This Mercury retrograde holds such strong tension. It's the Mercury retrograde is happening in Sagittarius. It's the archer. It's the spirit of that bone and arrow. The tension within this bone and arrow mutable cross configuration is so strong to the point that it holds the power potential to shift something internally, mentally, kind of ideologically, or the changes can happen in the mind, in our perceptions, in our belief systems, all of that. And claiming a new identity is can be a really great practice to commit to now, because we want to this is a great time to upgrade the default setting of our computer program that we run in our mind. So this is a wonderful time to break the patterns of certain mindset, certain belief system that we hold about ourselves. We run by the memories of the past and how it had happened. And if certain things had happened a couple times, we can assume that's gonna happen again. So I'm not gonna do it because I don't want to fail again, or it's not possible. It's logically impossible, or this and this, right? We this is not the time to continue to be run by the old belief system, because what we believe becomes our reality. So that practice of claiming an identity, new identity, if we claim an identity as God, as the creator, as the source, as the whole entire universe, you understand less resistance can come up. Because if you were the whole entire universe, which holds infinite possibilities, you think there is no way I cannot do this. There is no way that we cannot create miracles, right? There are less resistance that can come up if we were God, if we were the whole entire universe, because we are that spaciousness which holds infinite possibility. So this is the time to really make that into a practice, because that's what's happening in the cosmic realm. Pluto moving into a new sign. That's like Pluto claiming a new identity. Pluto in a Capricorn, that identity was about, I talked a lot about the themes of Pluto in Capricorn in my last video, but that is about authority. It is about the past related conditioned state of being too, right? The Capricorn rules government and power structures and religious organizations or schools, even things that we were told from the top down. But now we are shifting out of that energy into the new era of Aquarius, which is all about breaking that conditioned state and breaking that old belief system and old identity. It comes to the point of identity. And I feel like that Pluto in Capricorn era, which can be related to that last 200 years of the era of the earth. We've been under the program to believe certain ways of who we are, and it's kind of like it was told after generations after generations after generations without really being questioned. Of course, some people has questioned and try to break that patterns to claim new identity and to explore the the self outside of what our mind tells us. But this is the moment, right? We are on the verge of shifting the era. Pluto claiming a new identity means we got to claim a new identity as well, right? That's been my own practice also. So, like yesterday's class at the end, or toward the end in Shavasana, or I forget where when I said it, but it's like I am that God. I am that God. I am that creator. I am that source. I am that whole entire universe. I am that divine consciousness. I am that love. I am that peace and ease and wholeness and one love and oneness of all. And I am that. I am that. Claim it. Claim it. Right? Because we got to claim those new, it's not new identity. We got to remember those essential identities that we easily forget living here on earth. And that I I've come to understand truly of the importance of reclaiming those as our true identities. So this is my practice too, right? Whenever especially I feel off, I chant it sometimes in my mind again and again and again and again. Like, I am that source. I am that God. I am that vortex of the cosmic force. I am that. I am the cosmos. I am God. I am creator. I am that super powerful divine being, impeccable, indestructible being. I say those things and I say those words even in my post on IG, right? It's a reminder. We got to remind our mind again and again and again and again. Like like that chanting, like that mantra. We're trying to brainwash our mind to remember, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, remember who you are, right? Because first, if you say, I am God, and then the cognitive thinking mind start to come in, tell us like, what the heck are you saying? You're not God. You're just here with bunch of problems and shitty this and that and things that you gotta take care of, things that you gotta figure out, this lifestyle, blah, blah, blah. That's this cognitive thinking mind. That's that only 3% or so of our whole universe of our mind, right? And we gotta tap in again and again to the cosmic awareness as who we are, to even order our own mind. Tell the mind, shut the fuck up. Excuse my language. But really, sometimes this rumbling mind gets so loud and crazy and take us into all heavy spaces and all over the place. And then we want to practice standing in that presence of God, meaning I am that God and God is in me and I am in God. I am the source itself. The source is always with me. So the more that we are trapped in this projection of life, right, called reality, everything feels just so dense. We can judge other people. We can come up with all the right. I am different because I'm like this. My opinion don't go along with your opinions. I look different. You're different. I am that. This is that. Blah blah blah. Right? Always kind of comparing and judging and criticizing others or our own selves because of those like things, detailed things. Right? That's when we are just trapped in the projection that's being in the image that's being projected on the screen of life. We're just so trapped within that image. But our practice is to move away from that screen, right? When we go away, 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 and rise, ascend into the sky like the bird flying up and see everything from that bird's eye perspective. That's the cosmic perspective. That's the higher, the spirit's perspective, right? Then everybody looks the same, even, right? From the sky, when we look down, we cannot see the difference between people. People are just those things that they're just a little different people just moving around, but they don't hold that much of a difference, right? So when we move away from the projected reality and with an intention to connect to that God's consciousness, the source consciousness, we can re- we can react differently to everything. Just watching this thing called life, right? Not being just too absorbed in it, but we can just watch it as things come and things go without really grasping onto every feelings and everything's just so much because it just drains us, right? That kind of attachments drains us. There is nothing to be attached to. The more that we start to be closer to God, closer to spirit, closer to our higher self, the more that we start to hold attachments to everything. Even sometimes the law of manifestation creates a lot of attachments, right? Because we think, this is what I want. This, I want this kind of abundance, this kind of relationship, this kind of life, all based on material things. And at one point, you come to realize none of them really matter. If you start to connect to your higher self, you start to accept everything as is, surrender to the cosmic force, and no matter what is happening in life, we can trust because we know who we are. Again, coming back to that identity practice, right? Claiming those new identities. Identity is everything. If you know you are God, you act differently from that human self. If you know you are the source consciousness, the source is one. It's like the one big ball of light or gold and just everything within this thing. Like there is no difference between me and you and this and that. Everything. We can love everything. We can accept everything as they are. We can just embrace those people who hold different opinions or, those things that We hold resistance. Even that resistance that we experience can start to make us feel like, whoa, this is the human experience I came down to experience as a spirit. This resistance, this crazy life, this weird and crazy, all the good and bad and ugly and all the life stuff is something we as a spirit came down to experience. So we can embrace every aspect of it. Whoa, thank you. This is kind of epic. It's weird. It's a mystery, this and that. But yes, like we can hold them with love. We can hold them with like gentleness. And when we start to hold gentleness about our lives, about ourselves, everything, every aspect of myself, we can start to love it, embrace it, because it is that God's creation, and this is that unique, authentic, one of a kind God's creation. So let's please try to keep claiming those new identities. And if we claim ourselves as God, those ego driven, all the identities can start to fade away. Even those problems, even those resistance can start to fade away because God, would God hold resistance and resentment and hatred and anger? No, God is just a big space holder, right? It's just there is no good or bad or right or wrong. Everything is just is. And neutral, neutral, all one. And that essence is who we are. Thank you so much for listening.